Good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. Last night we had our long-awaited talent show. I think are some of the participants here? Anybody here was in the talent show or watching? Yeah, there's a few hands here. Okay, very good. I want to acknowledge everyone who helped and performed and everyone who was in the audience as well. Buddhists got talent. There's no doubt about that. So thank you so much for coming out last night. It was a lot of fun to watch all the different performances and shows and just the ideas that the kids and their parents have. It's very special. So we've gotten a break from the stormy weather the last couple of days. We get a glimpse of the amazing power of nature when the weather turns beyond the range of normal. Right nearby, the ground is saturated. People have been evacuated from their homes. The snow in Lake Tahoe is recorded as 5 or 6 feet, even 200 inches at the ski lifts. The Truckee River in Reno and Sparks looks like the Mississippi River. Giant redwood trees have fallen down, and trees even in our park have fallen as well, tipped over. The zoo at Portland showed their elephants and other animals playing in the snow. In my old town of Ontario, Oregon, buildings have collapsed. Businesses have closed from the weight of the snow on top of their buildings. My wife Charmin texted me pictures of snow and temperatures of minus 11 degrees. So this is t-shirt weather here. We're very lucky to have this kind of weather here. So sometimes it's a wake-up call, not only of impermanence, but of how small and frail human life is. So please be careful. Look out for each other as you get around town. Today we have a story about how we learn. We look at the difference between regular, normal learning and Nembutsu learning. There's a difference between regular education and Buddhist learning. Each of us, we go to school ourselves. We stress the importance of education to our children, to our grandchildren. We encourage effort from the time of grammar school, middle school, high school, college, and beyond. Study hard, try your best, keep up with the others. No pain, no gain. Through it all, the point is self-improvement. We expect the effort to lead us to become better people, more knowledgeable, more successful. But Buddhist learning has a different approach and a different goal. We have a story from Dr. Haneda in Berkeley about a Buddhist sensei in Japan. Once upon a time, there lived a very unpopular Buddhist sensei. Although he thought he was a good lecturer, no one else thought so. Kind of reminds me of myself. Usually, few people attended his lectures. The time of Shindan Shonin's memorial service, Hoonko, came, and so this sensei put up a sign in front of his temple which said 3 days lecture on Shin Buddhism. In Japan, temples, here too, temples would provide a series of lectures during special times of the year so that the temple and community members could learn more about the Buddhist teachings. The sensei cleaned up the temple grounds days before the lectures were to begin in order to welcome the people to his temple. He straightened up the lecture hall so that everyone would be comfortable to listen to his talk. Finally, the day of his first lecture had come. On the first day, he unlocked the temple an hour early. He was looking forward to the special presentations and everyone coming to hear. But only 3 people came to listen to his talk. 3. 1, 2, 3. After all his preparation for the talk, getting the temple ready for everyone, he was so disappointed that just 3 people would show up. He gave the talk, and at the end of his lecture, he thought he would try to spark something, so he told his audience, by the way, I know something special. I know a way of changing tofu into meat. So I want to talk about this in my lecture tomorrow. So please tell your friends. Please tell your friends that I know a way of changing tofu into meat. So having listened to this, the audience of the 3 people, they were impressed. They thought, wow, I didn't think he knew anything. His talks are usually not very interesting. Most people think he's kind of boring. That's why nobody comes to listen to him. But now he says he can change tofu into meat. That's great. Let's tell our friends. So they went out, they went back home, back to work, told their friends all about it. So the next day came. Again, the sensei opened the doors early to let everyone in. About 40 people came to listen to his lecture. So the sensei started to talk. Sensei was going on and on, his usual rambling, boring talk. And the audience impatiently waited for the story about tofu and meat. The teacher spoke 2 hours, finished his talk. He didn't say anything about tofu. Finally, a man stood up and said, "Sensei, we've been hoping to hear your story about tofu and meat, but you haven't said anything about it. Can you speak about it?" So the sensei said, "Oh, you're right. I forgot completely about it." He goes, "Oh, it's already 10 o'clock. It's too late to talk about it now, so I'll talk about it tomorrow evening. So go tell everyone, tell your friends, I promise I'll talk about it tomorrow evening." So the second day ended. Third day came. On this day, 250 people sitting in his audience all came to listen to the sensei. Standing room only crowd. So sensei was very, very happy. He started to give his lecture. People were waiting for his talk to end because they wanted to hear about tofu and meat. The teacher finally finished his talk, but he didn't say anything about tofu. Finally, several people got angry. "Sensei, you haven't said anything about tofu and meat. We've waited so long. You haven't said a thing." The teacher, sensei, finally says, "Yeah, you're right. I forgot again to talk about it. Now I'll talk about it. Changing tofu into meat is not that difficult. First, you buy a lot of soybeans, make a lot of tofu at home, a lot of it. Then you take the tofu to the market, you sell it. When you sell the tofu, you'll get a lot of money. Then you take that money, go buy some meat." Everyone there was so disappointed to hear the lecture end in this way, much like you are now. After so much anticipation and talk and wonder, everyone felt so let down. His audience was dumbfounded to hear this and so disappointed just to walk out of the room. What? So after telling this story, it explained to us that in this story, tofu is like human wisdom. Meat is like the Buddha's wisdom, or the wisdom of enlightenment. People in the story came to listen to the talk. People come here to the temple or to come to classroom, hoping to hear a way of changing human wisdom into Buddha's wisdom, changing tofu into meat. They want to add something to what they already know and make it develop into what the Buddha came to understand. But you can't. Human wisdom is human wisdom, just like tofu is tofu. You could cut it, slice it, dice it, fry it, boil it, broil it, do anything you want. It's still going to be tofu. It will never change into meat. So human wisdom is limited wisdom. Why would you think that you could change this into unlimited wisdom by adding something to it? Shindan Shonin tried with all his effort to change human wisdom into Buddha's wisdom. or awakened awareness, but he couldn't do it. Only after meeting Honen and being introduced to the Nembutsu did he have a way to let go of his self-improvement model of learning. The Nembutsu allowed him to transcend the limitations of self-improvement and to receive the Buddha's wisdom. Honen Shonin went through the same thing. He also tried with all his effort to change his human wisdom into Buddha's wisdom, but he couldn't do it. Only after meeting the teachings of Shantao and being introduced to the Nembutsu did he have a way to let go of his self-improvement model of learning. The Nembutsu allowed him to transcend the limitations of self-improvement and to receive the Buddha's wisdom. The beauty of Shin Buddhism and the Nembutsu teachings is that we don't have to get good or be good or do good. We don't have to learn more, practice more, polish ourselves. We do need to know ourselves, to see the limitations of self-improvement, to see the limitations of ego-centered effort. This is the point where we can drop our self-improvement, transcend the self, and receive the Buddha's wisdom that is always right there, ready to enter. Think about it. We come to the temple and listen to teachings of interconnected reality. All things are interconnected and interrelated. We hear this when we recite the three treasures, or the golden chain, or the Dharma messages. We're not separate from this interconnected reality, but an integral part of the whole. Separation is an illusion that is created by our egos. Our interconnection with everything else urges us to be responsible to ourselves, our families, our community, and beyond. Interconnection urges us to be responsible to all human beings, all living beings, to all plant life, to this planet and beyond. All our offerings of chanting, singing, money, food, flowers, rice, candles, incense are made to help each other to see the border that separates self from other, so that finally we can move beyond the self, transcend the limitations of the self, and to receive the Buddha's wisdom, awakened awareness. This is the process of Buddhist education, and we're each going through that right now. Please join me in Gassho. The saying of Nembutsu is neither a religious practice nor a good act. Since it is practiced without any calculation, it is non-practice. Since it is also not a good created by my own calculation, it is non-good. Since it is nothing but other power, completely separate from self-power, it is neither a religious practice nor a good act. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Okay, now go change tofu into meat. That should have been part of the talent show, huh?